Hey everyone, welcome back to another study buddy tutorial. In this video, we'll be talking about Introduction to Bonding. This is part 1 of our The Structure of Matter mini unit, and there's some keywords are bonding, octet rule, covalent ionic, and metallic bonds. The types of bond we'll talk about in next video, so if you're looking for the 3 types of bond, please make sure to watch the next videos. Let's get started. So let's start with the basic vocabularies first. So what is an element? An element is a pure substance that cannot be separated or broken down into simpler substances by chemical means. The key words here is pure substance, cannot be broken down by chemical means. So if you're going to write this down, just briefly rephrase it into pure substance, cannot be broken down by chemical means. Next, an atom is basically the smallest unit of an element that maintains the chemical properties of that element. So basically, smallest unit, and it maintains that chemical properties of that element. Next is a compound. What is a compound? This is where it gets kind of confusing because here I'm talking about elements and atoms, and now we get into compounds. So a compound is basically a substance made up of atoms of 2 or more different elements joined by chemical bonds. So basically, you can have a compound of different elements, different atoms of different elements, right? So you can think of NaCl, salt, as a compound because you have sodium atoms and chlorine atoms bonded together by chemical bonds. And if you recognize these definitions and words, these are from my previous videos for chemistry. You can check those out in my playlist for chemistry. If you go to my channel and you look for playlists, and there's a chemistry playlist there, so you can also refresh your knowledge about that there. I did make more expensive videos on those there. Okay, so moving on to our next slide. Bonding. Atoms are unstable when they don't have that full octet. We'll get into what an octet is in the next few slides, but atoms with an unfilled valence shell are considered unstable. The valence shell, again, you guys should know, is that it's the outermost shell of an atom. Atoms will try to fill that outer shell by bonding with other atoms. This is why they're so unstable. They want to bond so bad that they can be reactive, and they can be really unstable and bad. So the atoms try to fill their octet by bonding with other atoms. You got that. A chemical bond. In the previous slides, I talked about what is by chemical bonds, chemical means. So what essentially is a chemical bond? A chemical bond is the attractive force that holds atoms and ions together in a compound. So it's that force between them that's holding them together. So the force between NaCl, that force between the sodium atoms and the chlorine atoms, is that chemical bond there. But this is just something you guys should just know. It's not mandatory, but for understanding it is. Okay, so what is a bond? We'll get into that later, but I mentioned earlier that I talked about the octet rule. We'll get into this slide about that. So atoms form atomic bonds to become more stable. Atoms become more stable by filling their valence shell, the outermost shell, or at least meeting the octet rule by getting 8 valence electrons. Again, what is octet rule here? So the octet rule states that the atoms tend to form compounds in ways that give them 8 valence electrons, and thus the electron configuration of a noble gas. So in noble gas, you can think of the rightmost column of your periodic table: neon, helium, krypton, all of that, argon. But there is one exception to your octet rule, which is helium. It's a noble gas, but it only has 1 energy level, so therefore it can only hold 2 electrons maximum. So in order for helium to be stable, which it already is because it's a noble gas, it only needs 2 electrons rather than the 8, which is applicable with the octet rule for any other element. So here, this is a quick visual to help you understand. It's comedic and it serves good educational purposes. Here we have neon, Ne, and it's being served electrons. So it's not accepting more electrons because, if you remember, neon is one of our noble gases. Noble gases already meet their octet rule. Got it? So even though neon is being offered that, neon will not take it. That's why it says, no thanks, I'm already full, meaning I already have that full octet, I'm happy, I'm good, please leave. Okay, so they won't interact. That's why noble gases are considered the most stable gases, the noble gases, what they mean. Again, if this was helium here and it was being offered more, even though it doesn't meet the 8, it has that too. So it's okay, which is what the exception was. Helium, which only has one energy level and holds a maximum of 2 electrons. Okay, so moving on. There are 3 types of bond, as I mentioned earlier in this video, in the beginning, that we will not be talking about them more in depth as we would in our next videos. So just the 3 main types of chemical bonds used by atoms to fill their valence shell or the outermost shell are covalent, ionic, and metallic. We'll talk about them in the next video, but it's just a quick visual. The most common 2 are covalent and ionic, which you'll probably have heard of already. So you see here in this picture, the 2 unicorns are sharing this piece of candy. Sharing electrons is covalent, and ionic here, only one unicorn gets the candy, meaning one atom is taking that electron, meaning they don't share, it's being transferred. Okay, and then metallic, it's a little bit confusing, but we'll get into that later. Okay, so our next video, this is it for today's video, just a quick, brief introduction to bonding, and with some vocabulary and just basic concepts that are being reinforced. And next video, we'll be talking about what are covalent bonds. It should be the next one to be playing, but if it doesn't, go to my playlist or my videos and you'll see it there. Alright, so thanks for watching today. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below any questions. I also offer free tutoring. Just email me down below with my email addresses in the description. Thanks for watching, and let me down below in the comments below what questions you have, and I'll be gladly answering them there. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time in What Are Covalent Bonds. Thank you for watching. Bye.